So today I'm going to tell you the 3 things that you really need to focus on when it comes to planning your natural birth. And I'm not even talking about typical tips on how to prepare your body for birth. While those are helpful, it does not help you have a natural birth, especially in the medical system. We live in a culture of fear. We live in a culture where the medical system basically tries to control birth and it derails your natural birth. I talk about this inside of my book, Your Empowered Birth, about the natural birth traps and how they undermine your confidence when it comes to planning and getting a true natural birth experience. Now, I'm just going to preface this video by telling you the difference between a true natural birth and a natural birth, like what you've been taught to believe in the medical system. Okay, ready? A natural birth is anything from a vaginal birth where you had no interventions, or a vaginal birth where you had the epidural but you didn't have a C-section, or you had a natural birth because you were unmedicated during it, but otherwise there were things done to you during that birth that does not actually support your true physiological process. Check out one of my other videos on true natural birth when it comes to understanding how this actually works. But the idea here is with a true natural birth, this is what you're actually striving for when you're saying you want a natural birth as natural as possible. There's a lot of moms out there who have had a natural birth. They've recognized that something didn't go exactly the way that they had pictured it. Maybe they felt that they had an exam that they didn't want, or they felt that otherwise that it was too painful, or that something was being controlled and they weren't able to fully express themselves during that birth experience. And they're like, this time I'm going to have a home birth. This time I'm not going to let anybody touch me. The problem is that our medical system does not know how to support a true natural birth. Our medical system only knows how to support a natural birth. And often these natural birth plans lead to inductions, C-sections, the epidural, forceps vacuum, episiotomy, vaginal exams, and a whole bunch of stress that you don't need and a whole bunch of pain that you don't actually need to experience when it comes to a natural birth. A true natural birth, on the other hand, is when you are able to follow your body's instincts, when you're able to follow your own hormonal process, when you're able to basically tune into yourself and to your baby and be able to just navigate that with ease, with comfort, with confidence, and not have it derailed by the medical system. That is the definition of a true natural birth. It's also called a physiological birth. This is what Rachel Reed and a lot of midwives refer to this as, is a physiological birth. But the fact is that it doesn't matter how much education you have on how a physiological birth works. If you do not do these 3 things, what this is going to do is you're going to be fighting, you're going to be begging, you're going to be compromising with the medical system, with your birth culture, with your family, with your friends. You're going to start to doubt yourself. You're going to have a lot of insecurities in how to speak up for yourself. You're not going to know how to do it because there's other key components that you're missing. I talk about these again inside my book, Your Empowered Birth, about the 5 pillars of empowered birth, but there's more to it than that. So the basis of these 5 pillars is that you need to have the right mindset going in. And this is the key piece that I'm going to be talking about today, is basically the right mindset. The right mindset consists of having the idea that you are in the position of authority. It brings you back your confidence and helps you recognize what you actually want in your birth. Second part of the mindset is that you need to be able to conquer those fears. You need to be able to challenge what you're being taught. In order for that to happen, you have to be really strong in who you are and know that sense of yourself and that value that you have, that you're holding, and that dream vision that you're holding for your birth. Because nobody else is going to believe in it as much as you do. Now, you can hire a coach, which is what I do. I'm actually a birth empowerment coach, and women hire me in order to help them hold that dream, give them the skills that they need when it comes to learning how to navigate the medical system, the information that they need when it comes to planning and getting the kind of birth that they want. It's completely customized, but I don't work with everyone. Even in my high level programs, it's the same thing. I only take a select group of people at a time. I work through them in this system and I help them get what they want. So why am I teaching this to you for free if I also have high level programs and I have coaching? Because I know that you might not be able to access this, or you might be curious to know more so that you can get either on a call with me or go and check out my book, Your Empowered Birth, which lays out this whole system, by the way. So you need to have that right mindset piece dialed in. The other four, so you need to have the right education, the right environment, the right facilitators, and the right support. And I'll talk about those in another video. But right now, what you really need to know is these key things that you need to know in order to basically get that true natural birth. Number one is that all of this fear that is put on you, you have to be able to get rid of it. To be able to conquer your fear basically means going in and facing those fears. You have to look at them. You have to actually look at each one and challenge them. Inside of Your Empowered Birth, I actually walk you through how to do this. But the quickest and easiest way to go through your fears is to just look at them and then ask if they're true or not. If they're really true, if there's any information out there that can contradict that. Let me just tell you, there's nothing as terrifying as just fear itself. Once you use your fear as a stepping stone towards actually getting your dream outcome, it can't hurt you anymore. So I have clients that do have fears and they do always come up, but they also have the tools that I've taught them. And one of them is very simple. I'm just going to teach it to you right now. Ready? Okay. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to just focus on the fear that you might be feeling on any issue in your pregnancy or in your birth, or what might come up that you're terrified of. Maybe it's a C-section. Maybe it's just crumbling under the pressure. Whatever it is, I want you to number that 1 out of 10. And then I want you to take a nice deep breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And once you've taken that deep breath, I want you to recognize that you're letting that go. Okay? Anything that's over a 5 is somebody else's story in your head. Okay? So you're going to take whatever everybody else is giving you, and you're just going to take another deep breath. Let it out and ask, is this true for me? Is this actually true? Is this actually something that's going to happen? Or is it just something that might possibly maybe happen? And 9 times out of 10, this is not something that's actually happening right now. In fact, a story about this is I was told by my care provider, my midwife, that if I kept going in and out of labor, that my baby was going to go into distress. Now, that didn't feel true for me, but it was pretty scary because I was being threatened with not having my home birth and having to transfer to the hospital if I kept going in and out of labor. So I took a deep breath, just like I just taught you to do. Then I asked the question, how is my baby doing now? And she said, the baby is doing fine. And I'm like, okay, well then I'm going to bed. Like my labor had shut down. I'm like, I'm going to bed. See, a lot of times what happens is that when the medical system tries to scare you, this is the other part that you need to understand, is they're doing it from a place of their own fear. They have also been taught to be the authority. So the second key component after getting past your fear is that you need to have authority positioning. This is a marketing term, and this is also a term in the business world where you are basically the authority, because you have to recognize that the medical system is a business. So with authority positioning, that is recognizing that you are not the patient. You are a client. Not only are you a client, but you're someone who is hiring them to support you. So that means that you are looking at their set of skills, but you're not going to use every single one of them. You're also looking at their area of expertise. Do they actually know what a true natural birth looks like? Or would they not recognize it even if it smacked them in the head? I'm just going to say this because one thing about me is that I will just say whatever is like true. And this is true. There are a lot of OBs out there that say a lot of really dumb things, things that really do not work with true natural birth. Things like saying that you have to have your waters broken in order to have a natural birth. Things like saying that you have to go into labor by a certain point in order to have a natural birth, that your baby has to be under a certain weight, that your pelvis has to be a certain shape, that you have to be a certain age to be able to have a natural birth. They will find every single excuse under the sun to control your birth experience because that is all they've been taught. They're surgeons. Now, there are some obstetricians that operate under a midwife model, but there's not many. And there's some midwives that don't operate under a midwife model. And you can spot this more easily when you're putting yourself as the position of authority. So how do you do that? Well, it takes the mindset of getting past your fear, which I just taught you how to do, so that when they bring up those could, might, possibly, maybe happens and act like the expert who knows more than you can recognize that you are your own best expert. You know what you need, and you can ask the questions, and you can choose to either listen to what they have to say or say thank you, but no thank you. The last part that you need to have in order to have a true natural birth is being the relationship leader. This is another term that I've picked up from my mentor, Annie Lala, who is an amazing relationship coach, but she also talks about how you need to have your partner on board in life to be able to go and achieve your dreams. And what is more important than the birth of your child? You need to have your partner on board. And so many people get this wrong too, where they are saying they want a natural birth, but their partner is terrified. And their partner would rather they stay in the hospital. Their partner would rather defer to the doctor. If your partner is scared and not able to get past that fear, then even if you've given them that birth plan and said, this is what we're doing, if they haven't been able to address their fears, if you haven't sat with that and been the relationship leader so that they're just like, I've got this. I trust my partner in every single way. Like they trust you to know what's best for you, instead of looking to the outside, to the doctor who says that what's best for you is to do this C-section that you know you don't need, but your partner is the one that's advocating. If you don't have that figured out, it all falls apart. This is why I said you need 5 pillars, because this piece here with the right mindset of helping your partner, you need to stop sending them article after article after article and trying to get them to take the classes and watch the videos with you. You have to stop doing that, because what this does, especially if your partner's male, is it's overwhelming them. They don't know how to sift through that. They can't actually figure out what you want by you bombarding them with all these things, because they're not you. Instead, what you need to do as the relationship leader, again, is you need to tune into your fears. And I did show you how to do that. And then what you do from there is you enroll them into your dream. So then when they have their fears and concerns come up, again, you're not crumbling under the pressure. You're not fighting. You're not begging. You're not compromising to make them feel better, like you're not compromising with the medical system. You are basically saying, this is what's true for me. This is what feels right for me. And then they're able to do that. And I talk more about this again inside Your Empowered Birth. There's a whole system on how you can ask the questions in the journal prompts in order to get the birth you want. And I teach more about this in some of my programs. I teach this with all of my clients. If you want to know more, though, about what you need in the starter guide when it comes to getting an empowered birth experience, and what else you might want to focus on if you're a first-time mom, a second-time mom, or a VBAC mom, which are the 3 archetypes for natural birth planning, then go to my website, empoweringmomsbirth.com/start guide. And what you're going to get is a whole overview of the system. You're going to learn more about my book, Your Empowered Birth, how to work with me. And in addition to that, you're also going to get a free gift from me. So oftentimes there's a lot of moms that they are planning a natural birth and they don't get the right education. They're waiting until they can take those classes in the 3rd trimester. By that point, it is too late. You really have to work a lot harder to turn the mindset around. In fact, when people come to me and they're already 35 weeks, it takes a lot more work to get that turned around than if they came to me before they got pregnant or if they were in their early first trimester or early second trimester. And I'm also going to send you more tips on how to be the relationship leader, how to advocate for yourself in the medical system, how to basically have that confidence to say no, even when the heat is on, even when they're really trying to scare you and put those pressure tactics on you. I also give you access to my wider network of birth community members. I tell you more about what they're offering. In fact, there's a lot of books that I recommend you check out. Rachel Reed's is one of my favorite. There's one on breech birth from my friend Haley Pierce. And there's so much more that I teach you inside the newsletter and inside of my community and inside of my programs. So if you're loving what I'm teaching on YouTube, make sure you go and check out empoweringmomsbirth.com/start guide. Get your free guide and get those tips. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching and happy birth planning.